Shaun George, how are you, my friend?
Hey, what's going on, guys? How's everything? Good morning.
Can't complain,
Good
man.
morning. Good
First
morning.
and foremost, congratulations. How are you feeling?
I feel good. I feel blessed. It was an exciting night for us. So, Julie worked hard for it.
I'm sure you always assumed this was possible, right? I'm sure you always assumed that Jalea had this sort of potential.
Yeah, Julie, been in my opinion, always been there. We've been asking for these type of fights since 2017. Um, the promoters just wasn't giving this to us. So this is Julie opportunity to shine and show and prove.
So now, are you guys in a co-promotion, or is there just an option on the Big Bang with Frank Warren since he beat Joyce twice, or are you guys signed with Frank Warren in Queensberry now?
With we're right, we have a few fights with Queensberry.
Okay. It seems like it's the best thing that happened for you guys. I mean, Top Rank as a company and ESPN as a brand have been really pushing the Big Bang and helping them out with the social media and awareness of the fight. Is that something you guys have been pleased with?
I'm actually super excited about that. A lot of people don't, because Jalea doesn't speak English. A lot of people don't know Jale's story. They don't know his personality. With the documentary that came out that Top Rank released, it shows another side of who Jalea is, and the boxing fans get to see and enjoy the type of person he is. He's a easygoing, fun-loving guy, but then when it gets into us inside the ring, he's a competitor.
I ain't gonna front, Sean. I was nervous, right? Like the first fight I picked you guys, you know, blind faith. Second
Hmm.
fight, I'm hearing all the interviews and I'm like, damn, is Big Bang like,
In his head a little
yeah,
bit, cause
is he
feeling
listen is
himself.
he feeling himself too much? Is he listening to what everyone is saying and believing it because he was so confident, but like he literally did everything he said he would do. He said it would be easier, it looked easier. He said it would be faster, it was faster. And then he stopped him
In devastating
in
fashion.
devastating fashion. I mean, I
Like,
guess
coach, I was legit concerned. Like, if you watch our playback of the live reaction, I was
Right.
concerned. I was scared. Like the way that Joyce went down, the way his arm extended, it seemed like he was out of there.
He was definitely out of there. But going back, Jale's a student of the game. I say this all the time. I say it to everybody that will listen to me. He's a real student of the game. His boxing IQ is high. Um, Jalea didn't slack off at training. The reason why he was so confident because of the sparring he was getting, the workout. The, he was in a full training camp. This is one of his best complete training camps he ever had going into this fight. So we was ready for this fight. We was ready for a Joe Joyce that moved around. We was ready for a Joe Joyce to come forward. We was ready for a heavy Joe Joyce. We was ready for all parts of Joe Joyce. So depending on what Joe decided to do, we had a game plan for going into the fight. That's why Jalea was so confident. When he went down, it was scary. That's always a scary part about the fight. But that hook was coming. Eddie Hearn, he said a few months ago that Jalea only has a left hand. So we wanted to let everybody know that Jalea is fully loaded in both hands, that he could knock out anybody in either hand. Um, you know, that's what it came down to.
no, his power is insane. I mean, you had to have smiled, I guess, in content when you seen Joyce start doing this weird cross of a shoulder roll with the George Foreman guard. I mean, what was the first thing went through your mind once you seen him cross his body that way?
I was
Aha.
I was just making sure. I was making sure that Jalea cut that ring off because he was working right into the left hand. I didn't want Jalea to get too anxious, and he didn't. He was patient. He took his time. He worked off this jab, and he's picked his spots. Jalea was composed. So soon when he was doing all of this with his hand, and he couldn't his right hand in the front, he kept stepping around. We knew it was a matter of time. They made the job easier for us.
Obviously, on the outside looking in, my audience has been pushing. They want Bang Fury. I'm saying Me, you the trainer, so this is all a question I'm leading to. I'm saying
Yeah.
no. I feel like Zhang isn't as fast as a Fury and a Usyk, who is what the people want. I'm
Hmm.
thinking he needs like a Wilder. Like that's the biggest fight of the century, the two biggest punches in boxing. But how do you think Zhang can do with movers like Usyk and Fury? I know you want the Fury fight, but why do you think he'll win that fight? Because
We don't have a. You're not listening, Ness. You've been in the gym with Jalay. You've been in the gym with him, right? You're not listening. Excuse the background noise.
no
Guys,
worries.
housekeeping back there. You're not listening. Jalay can fight any style. I know everybody can tell on, like, if you notice the storyline behind Jalay every single time, right? Oh, he's too slow. He has slow hands. He's not a C level bot type box. He's a C level opponent. He only has a backhand. Every fight, we continue to show a little bit more, right? A little bit more. Jalay is a complete fighter. If you're moving around left and right, try to outbox him, Jalay going to catch up to you. If you're Tyson Fury and you weigh about the same and you're taller, you got longer reach, we're going to work our way in. It doesn't matter what you're going to do to us. Jalay boxing IQ is high. Jalay's a student of the game. I'm not a promoter just saying things. I'm not a promoter that just I'm a teacher, right? I analyze fights, I teach. Jalay understands that, and we have a good chemistry when it comes down to that. So whoever, like, so that all styles, Usyk, Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, I love all those fights for him. Anthony Joshua, I love all these fights for him, right? And all those guys are different styles, and I'm telling you, any one of those guys, Jalay is ready for.
Coach, you keep reiterating the student of the game part. The first time you mentioned that, you brought up the confidence and the reason for it being the training and the sparring. Can you tell us what type of sparring you guys got for that rematch?
For the rematch, we was getting, because we knew that everybody kept talking about his weight issue, that he came down too low, which in my opinion, Joyce looked exactly the same he looked in any other fight. He didn't look sluggish. He just had a guy in front of him that knew what he was doing.
Mm.
Um, it had nothing to do with the weight, but everybody kept harping on the weight, so we knew that he was going to be bigger. So we had a Wok from Poland. I'm bad with the bad names, right? But we had Wok in there,
Mm-hmm.
Maurice Wok.
Yep.
He was in the training camp. He was like 305 pounds, physically strong. Um, I remember the very first sparring session we had in the other training camp, when Jalay walked into the ring, and then Jalay tried to do the normal pushes upon the back, and Wok was like, "Nope, I'm right here. I'm pushing you back." And Jalay was like, "Okay, we're gonna make adjustments here," you know. Um, then we had an amateur kid from Denver, Colorado, Alonzo Bigfoot. I don't know his last name, but he was a split image of Joe Joyce, throwing 100 punches around, aggressive, coming straight forward. 6'6". He weighed like around 260 pounds. And then we had another guy from Canada, from the Ukraine, by way of Canada, Dimitri. Him and Jalay weighed about the same, and he was a super aggressive. We covered all, and at the same time, he knew how to box as well. So we covered all the aspects of it. We kept the guys in fresh, and we was ready for this fight. And then we had strength and conditioning with Scooter. Um,
You guys
so
changed from oh my God, what's her name? Lady out of Seville to Scooter. Now obviously Scooter is way more established in this game and worked with Daniel Jacobs, Clarissa Shields. I mean the names that he's worked with throughout the years is very extensive. But I gotta ask the obvious question: why the change?
um, that's something that happened between Veronica and Jalay,
Okay.
and something like that. So I don't harp on it. I love Veronica Soto. I think she's an amazing strength and conditioning coach. Um, she's focused and she's determined. So that's a question that you would have to ask Jalay or Veronica about that. I just stay out of those kind of things.
But on the outside looking in, this is the first fight with the new strength and conditioning coach, correct?
Yes,
I
Dave.
mean,
Scooter.
people are saying that he didn't look tired this fight, and they are saying that even though he won the last fight, he was starting too gas. Did you feel that way that the Big Bang was starting to gas in the first fight, and did you feel that in this fight he did look like he was not exhausted at all?
Um, Jalea was not gassing in the first fight. I understand where people was coming from. Jalea was making an adjustment because Joe changed his tempo. If you go look at the fight, Jalea was picking off. Like, I don't think people give credit for Jalea defense. Like, Jalea was picking off the majority of those punches. You want to go with the punch stats. Jalea defense was on point. Um, Jalea was on his way knocking Joe Joyce out in the first fight. I'm almost guaranteed. I seen the comment. I seen Jalea setting up. He was bringing his power into the fight. Jalea was not getting tired. It was just he was just changing tactics and trying to figure out how you're going to land the right hook on him.
How's that fight with Tyson play out? I mean, he's such a tall man. He draped over Wilder, really wore him down. Obviously, Zhang is way bigger in body type, muscle mass, or at least just body mass. But how do you see that fight playing out strategically?
Um, without giving too much, Jalea got hand skills. I know you guys see the power. I understand that. I understand that you guys see Jalea left hand, how fast it is, how powerful his right hook is. Jalea has real boxing hand skills, right? So this whole theory is a PR push. Tyson Fury, he's tall. He could use the jab. He could fight southpaw. Yes, I respect all of it. I understand who Tyson Fury is, but Jalea can fight. It's not going to be what you the guy think it is. If Fury beats Jalea, it's not going to be because Jalea wasn't ready for the fight. It's just going to be Fury was a better man, and that's what it comes down to. Jalea is a beast. I'm
Coach,
not. Go ahead.
I wanted to ask, does Jaleh have any plans to make the trip to Saudi next month for the Fury and Gano fight?
Right now, Jale's in China. He's doing his I guess like his homecoming thing over
Yeah,
there.
that looked amazing. All those I we
The
were
people
talking
at the
about that.
airport,
I mean, the
the
only
Yeah,
thing
video,
that
the
comes
video with the old man went viral. That's like all
the
over
only
the
yeah,
thing that comes
internet.
close to that homecoming is Pacquiao homecomings. That was huge, bro. He
yeah,
is a draw in China without a doubt.
yeah. And we knew this for a long time. Here's the promoters that we have, they don't know how to promote Chile when it comes down to it. Even if you don't get a fight because of the government issues in China at this point in time, you heard a person, Eddie Hearn, said the other day that AJ will fight Chile in December in China. How? Like we don't know. You don't know the schedule. What happened to the UK? What happened to the United States? That fight is big anywhere. Maybe no matter where you look at it, Jalea is a draw. His
What's the
popularity is
climate?
growing.
Wait, whoa, but forget the climate. Well, why wouldn't you want to do it in China though,
I,
Coach?
I would love to do it in China, but I'm saying like we don't know if it's possible. China has so much, it's going through so much politics and so many different things
Right.
when it
Okay,
comes down to those kind of things. And
so
so
you
I don't know
just
if it's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be
gotcha,
possible to do it.
gotcha.
When it comes down to it. So I'm saying like that fight is big anywhere. Anthony Joshua versus Jalea. Jalea versus that's a picture. I love that picture right there. That's
Yeah.
heartbroken. That guy was yeah. Um, Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder. It's big fights when it comes down to it. Jalea versus no, excuse me. Jalea versus Wilder. Jalea versus Usyk. Jalea versus Tyson Fury. It's great fights to see.
Now, your promoter, Frank Warren, has an amazing card. Danny brought up, obviously, Saudi Arabia. I'm not too keen on the main event because we don't know what Ngannou brings, but everyone else is a heavyweight. Any
Yeah.
interest at all in any of those heavyweights, or are those guys behind Gillette?
I won't say anybody's behind Jalea, but I'm saying that Jalea is the number one heavyweight in the world. The legitimate number one heavyweight in the world. You have he's in line to fight Usyk for the world title, right? We could sit down and wait for Usyk, but we don't know when's the next time we're going to get. We don't know when that fight is going to actually happen. Then you also have the other three guys. Why not wait? Why not get those guys? They're not fighting each other. They wanted to sit around and wait. We wanted to fight the top guys out there.
So you think Frank Warren would actually send an offer on behalf of Team Big Bang for Wilder? Because you said those other three guys. He's one of the three.
Yeah, I would hope so. I really would hope so. I would love to go against Deontay Wilder. I would love to show people what Jale can do with a Deontay Wilder. I know what Jale can do with Deontay Wilder. See, you have to understand another thing about those guys that we're talking about. Those guys are used to fighting guys that they sparred with.
Mm-hmm.
Like at some point in time, Deontay Wilder, the Tyson Fury, Usyk, Anthony Joshua, the majority of the guys that they fight, they've been in the ring with and they spar with all the time. You're gonna have Eddie Hearn talk about, oh, Anthony Joshua fought Jalé in the Olympic Games and beat him. Great. He knocked Jalé down. Great. But when he knocked Jalé down, Jalé got back up and tore after him, and Joshua ran the entire time. We could have these conversations, right? There's two sides to every story, but nobody been in the ring and sparred with Jalé. Not one of those guys, and that's why they're going to try to avoid him
Was
because
that
they don't
fight?
know what they're going to do.
Was the fight back? Was it before or after they removed the headgear?
That was before they had headgear on. The knockdown was actually more. You could YouTube. It's on YouTube somewhere. Um, the knockdown was more of a. It was a punch that put him down. I'm not gonna say it wasn't a punch, but it was more of a balance check. When Jale got back up, Jale, all right, let's go, and he tore after
So
Joshua,
flash
and what Joshua
knockdown.
did was ran. Excuse me.
Flash knockdown then.
Yeah, the flash knockdown. But it was like one of those shots, and then Jalé, and then Joshua like was scared after the fight, and he ran for the rest of the fight, maybe because of the point system. But the score was, I believe, I think, if I remember, 15-11 on the
Coach, do
computer
you
scoring.
think Top Rank would offer you Jared Anderson, or
But why would you want it? Why
would they
would you
be?
want to? Yes, they would be crazy. What, like, listen, why would you offer up? And I want to be clear. I'm not disrespecting Jared Anderson. I'm actually a really big fan of Jared Anderson. I want to see him win. To me, he's the next big hope for the American heavyweight boxing. Um, but he's not ready at this point for Jale. I'm not banging on my chest. I'm not doing any of that stuff. I'm telling you right now. I looked at him. I watched him. Even when he fought Jerry Forrest in Madison Square Garden, I was ringside and I was watching the fight. I know what I seen in that fight, and then his fight afterwards when he fought Charles Martin. We all seen what happened in that fight. And like he didn't look amazing. He needs time to grow. He's still young. He's a young man. He's 23. Is he 23? I'm not sure how old he's. 23, 24 years old,
Yeah, no,
right? So he
23.
has time to grow. They trying to push him fast, and they're not doing it right. I'm telling you, I've been watching Anderson in the amateurs. I've been watching him over the years. The- There's, it would be a mistake, but if the money's right, I guess we take the fight. But why try to destroy a kid before he even reaches prime or reaches peak? I should say, and he
Is it
hasn't reached.
is it more complex than you? I mean, your answer, is it more complex than just simply comparing the performance of former champion Charles Martin, who's a southpaw, to your fighter, who's a southpaw, and just is that why you're doing it? Because it's just like both southpaws are not equal. Mine's hits harder. He got hit by Charles Martin. What exactly is the reason you think he's not ready?
I don't think he's. I know my reason. I don't want to
Got you.
give away too much when it comes. I know exactly why I'm saying it. Um, and I suspect because Top Rank has good
Matchmaking.
matchmakers, so they understand. They probably would understand what I'm saying more. I don't want to put Anderson on blast because I'm not really that type of coach with that type of person to just do that. But I'm just saying it's good. The fight will be good for us, But no, I'm not interested in. I want to see Anderson do well. That's all I'm saying.
What about Gerald Miller? I know you guys have sparred Gerald Miller and you know each other.
My
He
God, yeah.
is he's rumored to be getting a title shot with Mahmoud Char for the WBA regular in November. It got pushed from October 14th to I believe November 18th now. I got to confirm the date, but is he a possibility if he gets the title, or is the friendship too valuable.
No, no. If the money right, we fight anybody. I'm sure he would say the same exact thing. We're not afraid or intimidated by anybody. Jalay really doesn't. If you tell Jalay he's going to fight somebody, like okay, when it's not about that at all. Um, right now, as I was saying, that we have a lot. We to get to this point, we sacrifice a lot. It's not. It has not been an easy road to get to where we're at right now. We're number one. We're in line to fight a mandatory challenge. So the money and the fight has to be right to go there. When I say right, and this is just me talking, like we want Deontay Wilder, we want Anthony Joshua, we want Tyson Fury, and we definitely want Usyk. Those are the fights. Usyk is mandatory for us, right? But then we have the Herkovich fight too that we nobody's talking about as well.
No, I was
There's
just
a
gonna
lot of
Nah,
fights.
ask you,
Now we've been talking about it
and
since the fight, but
and
the
to
thing
be
is that
honest,
he's with Matchroom. Will they be
Yeah.
willing to make that fight with you guys?
Listen, promoters nowadays, which is disappointing. Maybe it was like this in the '80s, but a lot of fights was being made in the '80s too.
I
But
mean,
it's like these promoters that are refusing to work with each other. They got so many good fights to make. You know, like they've been dangling Anthony Joshua in our face for years.
For you, and
You
now
know,
today it's saying that fight fell apart. That the Saudis don't even another prince has taken over and doesn't want the same. It's so sad. AJ Wilder will never happen. It's like 7 years in the making.
yeah. But why we got to go to Saudi Arabia to make that fight? That's a big fight.
I
Like,
mean,
don't get me wrong. Like outside of
coach.
boxing, like I could get Anthony. This is the fight that I want to see: Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder. I would love to see that fight. Um, but why can't it happen in the UK? Why can the money? Why can't it come? Why can't the fighters agree on the money in the UK? They both are A-side fighters.
Because they
You
sell
know what I mean?
$10 tickets out there, coach.
Yeah, I guess. But
Like,
still,
no, I'm just,
but pay per
I'm
view.
like,
But pay per view. But what about pay per view?
I mean,
Word.
Right?
they sell $20 pay-per-views out there.
Yeah,
Like,
but then you do it international because we'll still pay for it.
yeah,
Americans still
but
gonna pay
but
for
but
it.
but you got to realize they not gonna pay a $80 price to watch a 2 p.m. pay-per-view.
That's true.
You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, that's just not gonna happen. They tried it with Tyson Fury and it didn't work out for them. Like, I get
But
it. I
Tyson Fury for who?
Dillian White.
Yeah, but that's Dillian White. This is Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua.
Yeah, but
You know what I'm saying? Like it's a
Tyson
dance
Fury
partner,
Tyson Fury at the time was the biggest name in the sport. Like, he was,
but it's a dance
Joe
partner.
Rogan's, and
Yeah, dance partner though. It's true, man. You need a
It's a
dance
dance
partner.
partner.
it's
You
still a
do
2
need.
p.m. pay-per-view though. Like, I just
Yeah,
don't see
I
them
get
make
what.
like, if the British fighters, if a fight like Wilder, I'm sorry, like Joshua and Fury is too expensive to make in the UK, no way they're gonna make an American and Deontay Wilder. Like, the Saudis to me seemed interested. They're making the fights. We October 28th they got another big one.
Yeah, but
The Filler fight,
that's the thing. It's a different
I understand.
prince. But you're lucky because Frank found his own connection, is my understanding,
Yeah,
and they're the ones basically telling the other guy like, "Yo, you not do." I don't even know how you could do that, but they basically telling Khalid like, "You can't do the fight no more." You ain't see the.
mm,
It's all over the internet.
Hmm.
I gotta check that out. I didn't see that either. I
Yeah.
haven't. Yeah, gotta check that out. But
Okay, I got a couple more questions for you, Shaun. We got James Valdez, San Antonio, Texas, says, "What are your thoughts on the future career of Anthony Joshua?"
um, he's trying something new with Derek James, which is a very good coach in my opinion. Um, I did see the progress in his last fight with Hellenius. Um, took a little bit longer than it should have went. I think it went 9 rounds. The
Hmm.
lat with Robert Hellenius. But you could see what they're working on in the gym. So it's time to step it up. It seems like Joshua is taking like steps back and fighting the type of opponents that Jalay will be fighting like a year ago, 2 years ago, before we got the Herkovich fight. He needs to get back on the stool and get back in the ring and fight the big fights. Cause I don't want to see him fight those type of fights anymore. I actually do want to see him fight Jalay. I really wanted that fight to happen. I want to see him fight the Deontay Wilder. Stop making excuses and just you're a fighter, so fighters fight. That's the other thing too. Not to change the subject, But if you notice, those guys, Deontay Wilder, Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua, they're not talking about Jalay. Their promoters and their handlers, their people, they're talking about Jalay. They're not mentioning Jalay name. You know what I mean? They hide behind their people and they go let them take care of it. But like you don't comment on the fight, you don't talk about those fights. That's a fight, possible fight where you could make a lot of money on. So why not talk about it? You know, that makes me question if they really want those type of fights. They're so used to each other, they want to stay around each other because they know what they can do with each other instead of inviting another guy into the fold like Jalay.
Mhm.
That's a whole, which is I, I find it hard for any boxing fan not to okay get excited for Jalay to fight any one of those guys. You
How
know,
soon would you want to see that fight? I mean, obviously, he only had 3 rounds. People don't think your fighter took any damage. You know better than us. When would a Wilder or AJ fight make sense to you, timeline?
Jalay will be ready in December. Jalay, when Jalay get back from China, he gonna be back here. I could guarantee you, Jalay gonna be calling me up at like 12 o'clock in the morning. Um, I'm gonna go to the gym tomorrow. He does this. Like after his last fight, he was in Thailand. He called me up at 12 o'clock in the afternoon time. I'm in the gym. Where are you, coach? Like, damn, Jalay. Like he's a gym rat. He's in the gym. He wants to train. He wants to get better.
So
You know
I'm
that.
curious, like, what? But why is he calling you if you're in America and he's in Thailand or China? Like, just to
No,
let
no,
you
no,
know that he's in the gym, or to?
no, no. I'm talking about when he came back from Thailand.
Oh, okay, okay,
He came
got
back
you,
from Thailand. He landed, and the next day he wants to be in the gym, and he
got you,
just
got you.
decided to go to the gym. Yeah, and asking me, Coach, I'm in the gym. Where are you? Like, okay, I didn't know you was in the gym the day after, but that's what he wants to learn. And he wants to get better. Like this, he's like one of those amateur kids that want to be world champion, and he's trying to improve on what he's trying to do. That he's one of those type of guys.
Now I'm curious. You said he'll be ready by December, so that means he'll be coming back pretty soon, no?
Yeah, Jay back in a week and a half.
Mm.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that Saudi. See, I thought he'd be in China for at least a month. So that's why I brought up Saudi because I'm like, oh, that ain't too far. I'm sure they could throw him on a flight. They still can from America. Don't get it
Mm-hmm.
twisted. But yo, that's great. He ain't wasting no time. You said a week and a half.
December's a
Listen,
perfect time. I mean,
December,
and if he
January.
can be available, he can probably be one of those options for an AJ or a Wilder who were rumored to
Mhm.
come back in those same months. Um, what's your timeline for Usyk in terms of the WBO? What are they saying? Now you won the interim. Is there a certain amount of days before it gets ordered? A certain amount of days before you have to negotiate? What's the
Um,
status of that interim title for your team?
you're gonna have to talk to Tommy and Terry and Scott about that kind of stuff
Mm-hmm.
because from my understanding of that, Usyk has a mandatory fight with Herkovich,
Okay.
or he has a choice to fight. He has a choice to fight Tyson Fury to unify the titles.
Mm.
So like there's always obstacles to get that fight. That's why I'm not really talking about Usyk, and I'm like skipping past because like that fight is not until down the line. No matter how we look at it, if they wanted to unify the titles or not, if he gonna have a mandatory with the IBF first, so we have to wait. And that was Joe Joyce issue before. Like, oh, damn, I'm the mandatory challenger, but now I have to wait in line because Dubois has it, and then the IBF has it with Herkovich, and then he would have had his opportunity. It's a pecking order at
It's
this
kind
point.
of late at this point, but there's no way with this win and what took place at the Hergovich fight for you guys to petition to the IBF. I mean, I certainly thought Big Bang won the Hergovich fight. I fucking was
Yeah,
upset. I put money on that
yeah,
fight. I went all the way to
mhm,
Houston and seen Hergovich sparring, and I knew he was gonna
yeah.
fucking lose.
Yeah,
and they robbed us, man. So like, how
yeah.
does he go first, bro?
And the great, I don't know, but Dubois went first over Joe Joyce, and Joe Joyce stopped Dubois. Like how does it like it's the politics of boxing? This sucks. Which might would come to mind two things. Over there, July last fight, that rest period in between the second and third round was long,
Oh, the clock
meaning
was
like
off.
it was a minute and 27 seconds.
Damn.
Go to the ESPN app. You could see me complaining to the referee and the timekeeper like, yo, what's going on with the time before we went into the third round. Um, it just the politics is horrible when it comes out. It was a minute and 27 seconds. Time it. You could go to the ESPN app, watch the fight, look at the fight again, enjoy the fight, and then look at the end of the second round, going into the third round, watch what happened. They gave him more time to recover when it came down. The timekeeper did. So now it wasn't only just the referee and judges. Now you had to pay attention to the timekeeper. That was frustrating to me to watch.
Damn.
And
That.
nobody talked about that. Nobody had any conversations about that. Nobody said anything about it. Nobody noticed that. But it was a big commotion in the ring at that point in time. And by the way, Steve Gray was a good referee. He did his job. You know?
Coach, I wanted to see if you could give us some confirmation. We've heard about the popularity that Gillet has in China. Um, it was reported, I think, 15 million people tuned in for the first Joyce fight, and over 60 million people
I
tuned.
thought he said 300 million for the first fight. He said he got 300 million views, right, on the first fight.
Yeah, it was something like that. Yeah, because Henan is like I know Henan alone, where he's from. There's like 200 million citizens there in that province alone.
Crazy.
Um, but yeah, the numbers is crazy. I'm not gonna lie, the numbers to me is just crazy when it comes down to those kind of things. Jalay is a superstar, and I love that puppy in the background back there. um, but Jalay is a superstar in China.
Have
He
you been
does
out
do the
there with
numbers.
him?
I lived in China for 8 years,
Oh
basically.
wow.
That's how I met. That's how the reason why I went to China. Y'all know who Luduva is, right?
Yep.
Right? That was my manager.
Okay.
And when I was fighting pro, when I retired from boxing, he asked me what I want to do. I was like, I don't know. He said he has an idea coming down to New York City, and I have something. I may have something for you. And it was USA versus China. It was a dual meet, amateur fight, and that's how I met Jalay for the very first time. They invited me down to training camp. They liked what I saw, so they flew me down to China for 3 months. They loved it,
Wow.
and I've been working with them. Yeah, I've been there ever since.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
So when was the last time? I'm curious. When was the last time you were out there? And
2000 when he fought Donald Hainsworth. So I think that's 2017. Yeah,
okay.
2017, September 2017.
So, do you have any idea? Like, is he able to like walk the streets? Like, is he able to go to a restaurant? Like, how? Because when I hear 60 million, um,
Hmm.
now granted, I would have to look up the population to put things in better perspective. But like,
Hmm.
there's very few anything that comes on television that's doing 60 million views. Like,
Word.
we
Hmm.
as sports fans highlight that. Oh,
He did a
Deion.
million.
No. I was gonna say, Nez doesn't watch other sports, but as sports fans, it's been talked about the last month how Deion Sanders has brought 10 million viewers to watch, his kids at
Yeah,
Colorado. And to
yeah,
us, to me, I'm like, yo, hats
yeah.
off to Deion. 10 million, 12 million for the TCU,
Mhm.
but 60 million? Yo, that's
Yeah.
nuts.
I haven't been like when Jalay walks around. Jalay is a big man in China. So when anybody sees Jalay walking, they're going to stop to see, hey, what are you going to do to ask questions?
Okay.
Now everyone knows he's almost. I won't go the Yao Ming route, but he's on his way to being there right at this
Mm.
point
Hmm.
in time. If you've seen the videos from him just coming off an airplane, and
Yo, that
I'm
was
looking at the
crazy to
video,
me.
No,
Yeah.
that was
and
insane.
and I'm looking at the videos. I'm looking at Jalay. Jalay like, damn, I'm tired. but at the same time, it's just like you're watching everything. Like, okay, he arrived, and he's someone to be met. But that's have to translate to the media over here. Like when it comes down to it, it's like Jalay is a star. He can be the next Manny Pacquiao. He can be the next Yao Ming walking in China right now. But
But
put that theory.
is it gonna translate? Because when Manny fought in America, the
Mhm.
Filipinos would come out.
And not just that,
Okay,
not
yeah.
not just that, coach, but I watched Yao, and I remember, he it wasn't much, but he gave us a little English. He gave us a little
hmm
English. You
Jalay is
know,
learning his English.
okay.
Jalay is learning his English. And I agree. And he agrees as well. But here's the thing. Um, do you remember when Jalay fought Craig Lewis in Madison Square Garden? Do anybody know that fight?
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Craig Lewis, former sparring partner of Wilder.
Yeah. He's we only have 3 days notice to make the Chinese fans aware of what was that Jalay was on the card. Because we didn't have an opponent. We was looking for an opponent. We were searching for an opponent. We only have 3 days. Jalay sold in 3 days over $65,000 worth of tickets
Wow.
for those 3 days.
Mm.
Like, so if you sell, but so what I'm saying is if you promote him properly in New York City, in America, New York City, Houston, California, Las Vegas, the fans are going to come out. Right, he is a celebrity. He's that much, but the promoters haven't been promoting him. They haven't looked. They don't know how to promote him. Everybody just focus on promoting him. Oh, we got to go to China. We got to do this. We got to do it. No, it starts in America. It starts in the UK. The UK fans, they weren't even promoting Jalay in the UK for the last fight. They was promoting Joyce, the Revengeance, an eye for an eye. Can Joyce make this? They were promoting Jalay at this point in time. So the promoters got to in my opinion, the promoters got to start focusing more on promoting Jalay and toward his fan base.
So, do you believe that with the numbers he has done his last two fights, that the promoters start to see the value, like start to believe in his popularity, start to realize, hey, maybe we should do our job?
You would think. I hope so. Frank Warren, he's been around for a long time. He understands. He's been around for a long time, and that's that. That's just one of those situations. That's a knockdown, right? Yeah. He was throwing the hook and he
That
got
was
caught
a
with the right
clean
hand.
coach. That was a fucking clean shot, though. That was
But look what
not.
happens after. Look
That
what
was
happened
not
after.
bad. Well,
Nah,
you know they
Look what
only
happened
sent me to
after.
knock. You know they only sent me to knock down. They ain't gonna send me everything.
Exactly. So it's on YouTube. That's what I'm saying. Look what happened after. Look, and he gets up and look at how Anthony Joshua runs.
Mm.
That's what I'm saying. And two, that's two completely different styles. Jalea was more looser with his head up in the air when he was throwing that punch. Look at the fight. Understand what happened then and what's going to happen now. That's what it comes down to. I get what you're saying. I understand what
Hey,
you're trying to say.
I ain't gonna front. Joshua barely put anything in that right either, bro. He was like, you could tell he wasn't even like in his proper stance. It was just like, a
I
little
sent
quick
I
one.
sent you the full fight.
Look at the
How many
fight. Look at
minutes?
the whole fight. It's 11
Uh,
minutes. The whole fight's 11 minutes. Well,
Oh,
if there's no,
we're gonna have to watch that when
I
you're
no,
not
the whole
on.
fight.
well, I'll give you a timestamp. Hold on, give me a sec.
Okay. Let me see. I got some more here from the people. We got shoot, hold on a sec. Mm-mm.
Coach,
All
so
right.
go ahead, Nuss.
SDX Renzi, are we getting the robbery rematch or going for the world title? So I guess he's talking about Hergovich.
Herkovich, yeah. Herkovich has his mandatory fight next with Usyk.
Hmm.
I would love. Listen, we don't duck anybody. I know how Jalay feels about that fight. Um, and you see what happens the second time around when Jalay gets a rematch. So it's not going to be. It's definitely not going to be the same type of fight. And we don't trust the judges. Obviously, I have issues with judging and the politics of the sport of boxing. Um, so every round that we're in there, we're always going to be looking for the knockout every single round. So if it's possible, let's make it happen. But everybody knows what happened in that fight. Herkovich knows what happened in that fight. So we'll see what happens.
I got Cutman Scar. What's up, coach? What is the worst cut you and your cut man had to handle with so far?
Cut. No. I guess the headbutt with Jerry Forrest.
Mm.
We was talking about that. That's the point that got taken away right after because Jerry Forrest kept coming in with his head, and then he got a haircut. But Jalay doesn't cut easily. Um, the cut was taken care of quickly. Wasn't bleeding afterwards. Veronica Soto was the cut woman at that point in time, and she stopped it quickly.
I got Brian Sanchez. How do you decide who you want to coach? And is there anyone you would like to train?
Mm. Yeah. Me, I love coachable fighters. You have some fighters that stop learning, and that's want to learn. The fighters I want to learn, those are fighters I want to coach. There's a lot of fighters that I would love to train. I don't want to step on toes with any other coaches and everything else. I know that I can do. I know what I can do as a coach. I'm a real student of the game. My job is to analyze and teach, and I really go hard when I'm doing that. Um, who do I want? I'm not going to do that because they still have coaches, and I don't want to be that coach to try to steal fighters or anything like that. I'm
I
just so
have Trav FDY. This guy, this is confirmed. I know this guy. He's part of our community for years. This dude made 20,000 on Zhang Saturday and 6,000 the last fight. He said, "What's up, coach? I want to thank you, Big Bang, and the entire team for making me 26,000 in the two Joyce fights. If
that's
he
dope.
fights Fury or Usyk, will he come in lighter than 287 for more speed?"
I don't look at Jalea weight any like I really don't like when you guys find out Jalea's weight. Every now and again, I was just asked to see where he's at. Every now and again, but I don't worry about Jalea's weight anymore. The last time I was worrying about his weight was with during the Jerry Forrest fight. I was adamant about him coming in lower. You got to be 260. You got to be around that weight when you're coming in, and that's not the right route for super heavyweights. And I say super heavyweights because, and we could talk about the next fight that's coming tomorrow night, Canelo Alvarez and Jamel Charlo, and thinking that I'm thinking Jamel Charlo is going to come in stronger and he's going to be more comfortable in that ring at 168 than he is at 154. But like I don't look at your weight anymore, so I don't really pay attention to like I just focus on if he's in shape, if he's moving slower, if he's moving faster, if he's in motion, does he have his rhythm? Can he go the rounds when it comes down to that? Scooter has his mission. I have my mission, and we just make sure it's a great training camp going in.
Shout out to Scooter, man. He definitely is great at what he does. We have Dave Hooch. Stylistically, who is the worst fight for Zhang?
Nobody. We beat all of them.
All right, out of the three, what's the easiest?
No easy fights either.
No easy fights.
There's no listen. I'm not doing that whole PR thing. Like, oh, Deontay Wilder is easier than Tyson Fury. Usyk is more difficult because listen. All fights have present different obstacles. We know that Deontay Wilder is a tremendous puncher, a vicious puncher. Like I've never went against Deontay Wilder in a fight. Going into the fight, I'm a fan of who he is and what he has done and knowing his story behind him. And not to mention, Malik Scott, Big Young, is a really good friend of mine. We went to school together, Northern Michigan University, part of the Marquette Bad Boys. Or Usyk using his angles, using his boxing ability, being fast. Anthony Joshua, a mixture of both in between that. Tyson Fury, that's a whole nother animal when it comes to his height, reach, weight, orthodox southpaw. Everybody has a different things to get over. I just happen to believe that on any given night, anybody can lose. I don't believe in the pound for pound best fighter in the world. I don't believe that that one fight is unbeatable. I really believe on any given night, anybody could lose a fight. Anybody could get knocked out on any given night. So that's my opinion.
What's your prediction for Saturday night? Obviously, you spoke about Charlo possibly being fresher and stronger.
Yeah, he's not making weight. So like, it's no secret that the majority of the fighters, not all, majority of the fighters, when they cut in weight, they making themselves weaker to be at that weight. You know, this is why. So that's you gonna take that 100% out the option. Then he has a good team behind him with Derek James and Juan Guzman. Um, Everybody, and yes, I'm aware that Canelo Alvarez is a favorite. He is a favorite going into the fight. But Jamel Charlo, you just can't sleep on what he's able to do. He's taller. He has longer reach. He's going most likely coming at his natural weight. Most likely he's going to be a little bit under 168. But he's going to be comfortable. You know what I mean? Like all he has to do is get ready for Canelo Alvarez. He didn't have to worry about cutting weight,
You
stepping on the
say that
scale to
so
see.
casually. All he has to do is get ready for Canelo Alvarez.
Yeah, but we acting like we haven't seen Canelo Alvarez under pressure. We all seen Canelo. Can we agree to that? Like
What
Canelo
do you mean
Alvarez.
by
I'm not even
that?
talking about. I'm not even talking about Mayweather or Bevo. We've seen Canelo Alvarez under pressure. Yes, we've seen Jamel Charlo get hurt. We've seen Jamel Charlo be uncomfortable as well. But I'm not counting that man out at all. I think it's going to be a good fight. I think it's going to be a competitive fight. Um,
Do you see a
if I was
knockout for either man?
Yeah, I think I
Wow.
definitely I definitely could see Canelo knocking Charlo out. I could see Jamel hurting and maybe putting Canelo down for the very first time.
Wow.
It should be a good fight, but I could see Canelo getting up and weathering the storm too. I'm just saying that if I was betting and the odds, what are the odds on that fight? Do we know?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Canelo, I believe, was a minus 300 last I checked, or minus three something.
He's up to like 5 or 4 now, and Charlo I think is plus 330 or plus 360.
I know by decision, Canelo was even money.
Even money
Well,
by decision?
minus money, minus 125, wasn't
I
he?
mean, pretty much even money. But yeah, it was minus 125, pretty much even money
Yeah,
though.
that's the even money. But no, you can't be comfortable. Like you can't be comfortable with just betting on Canelo just to win.
Money
Charlo
line,
is
Canelo is a minus 425, and Charlo's a plus 325. By knockout, Canelo. Where is it? All right, I gotta find it.
So I got it right here. By knockout, Canelo,
Got it.
um, plus 250 on some sites, plus 240 on others, plus
That's
280.
what's the draw?
crazy,
What's the
bro. They
draw?
really
We in
giving
Las
it
The
even
Vegas.
draw, the
money.
draw is
We in Las
plus 18,
Vegas.
plus 1800. So I
See, I
just I
won't.
just want to tell
Listen.
you, I just want to, because you asked about the draw.
Yeah,
I'll pat myself on the back. I bet the draw on Canelo Triple G won the
yeah.
morning of the fight, and that was a
Oh
plus two
wow,
thousand.
And I bet the
wow. Okay.
draw on
Wilder,
Fury
yeah,
Wilder, and that was like plus 14, 1600.
Ooh, okay. Oh,
So
you
this
did the first fight?
draw,
the
so
first
this
one,
the
yeah,
first
the
fight.
first one.
Yeah, I
Wow.
got the
Okay.
first fight right. So this
Nice.
so this draw is low. It's
Uh, I
probable.
mean, plus 1800. I
I
feel
got
like,
16
yeah, I feel like that's pretty.
average.
Yeah, when like, cause living in Vegas, I look at the big fights, and that's what I wanted to ask you, Coach, because you brought up how you think he's more than capable. You said you could see him hurting him. So the reality of Jermell Charlo winning a decision in Vegas, right?
Hmm.
How, like, you really
Did
see
you
that
see?
possible?
Do you remember? Do you remember De La Hoya versus Felix Trinidad fight?
Yeah. Yeah, but De
Right.
La Hoya took those 3 rounds off at the back. He did
Three
that to
rounds, but he
himself.
won 9 rounds. But the man won. He won 9 rounds. That was the easy fight. That was the easy pick. Like the rounds that De La Hoya was winning, go back. He was winning. Like, okay, this is the
I mean,
easy.
look, while Mayweather Canelo, that was as clear and one-sided of a fight. I
And
think
they
even
gave
more
Yeah,
clear,
exactly.
and one-sided. And
yeah,
one judge,
Yeah,
Adelaide Bird.
Adelaide Bird,
Shout
yeah,
out.
gave Canelo a draw, or
yeah.
scored it a draw. So I'm just saying, man. I feel like it's gonna be tough for Jamel to pull it off. But I wanted to ask you. I know Ness has known you personally and been in your gym and such. You being out there in the Northeast, very close to New York, have you worked with Joanne Guzman? Because you know Jamel has brought him on, and I think that Joanne has been a phenomenal addition. Just wanted your thoughts being from out there, or being out there, I should say.
Um, I don't know him personally. I've been around him though. He
Okay.
been around Gleason's gym, Brooklyn, with the boys out there. My uncle Lennox Blackmore, um, Hector Roca, and those guys. He's been over there. He knows boxing. He knows his shit. Like he has a different aspect of different things. Derek James, they're like two different type of fighters. Two coaches when it comes down to different things, but at the same time is I guess is what Jamal Charlo needs at the same time. Somebody give them two different things. If they working great as a team, the chemistry is good. I think is a good thing.
What are your thoughts on that as a trainer? Obviously you mentioned not wanting to step on certain guys' toes who currently have trainers and things like that, but you know there's a lot of criticism amongst the public. Oh, this guy is switching trainers up. Oh, this guy is stuck to one style and won't switch trainers. Like, where do you stand on the spectrum? The way I see it, I feel like the more the merrier, in the sense that we only human, so it's only so much that you can see, only so much that you know at this given point in time. So the next guy may be able to know what you don't, and fill those voids. I'm just curious what your thoughts are on that.
I think if everybody know their place and know their position, it's a good idea. There's in the sport of boxing, there's a lot of trainers that doesn't know their position, so the chemistry doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that well. You have if you look at any other sport, NFL football, basketball, they have three or four different trainers, defensive coaches, offensive coaches,
Team
strength and
sports,
conditioning
though.
coaches, team sport. Yeah, yeah, I understand that. But what I'm saying is, if the chem like if if the chemistry is not right and one trainer is not trying to steal the other, because there's a lot of backstabbing go behind the scenes, you know. And if the chemistry is good, then I'm okay for it. If there's no chemistry behind it, then everybody don't. Okay, for example, the GB team, the amateur GB team. Um, when I used to watch them in the amateur system, they go. Everybody had their part. They had a whole team, a whole staff. And so when they get into the arena, everybody goes off and do what they're supposed to do. The head coaches, the other coaches, everybody had their job to do. It's not like that in boxing, in professional boxing. Everybody want to be like, okay, I'm the smartest person in the room. You gotta listen to me. I told you what you should be doing. Everything else. That's the issue you have. It seems like it's working for Jamel Charlo and Derek James and Juan Guzman. When it comes down to it, they have that chemistry when it comes down to that kind of stuff. But that's just my thoughts on that. You know.
No, for sure. It's funny, cause to be quite honest with you, I don't watch amateur boxing unless it is the Olympics, or
Yeah.
unless like it's a guy that I know. Like we got our kids in Vegas that I got my eye on. But that being
Mhm.
said, I feel like honestly most boxers should have like an MMA style corner where it's like you got this coach for this, you got this coach for this, you got this, because it's like each trainer, I feel like they have their specialty, they have what they're good at, and then they have what they're bad at. So if you could find a good balance, I feel like that's the best situation for the fighter. But like you said, is knowing your role and knowing your place and being able to play
Yeah.
it.
That's the biggest thing with boxing. Honestly, is like a lot of people don't understand their role, or they don't understand like, okay, damn, okay, right now this is his job, let him focus on what he needs to do. When it comes down to that, like everybody wants credit, and I get that, but it's just like it's too backstabbing. Like MMA, everybody they work as a team. They go across. Okay, this is the grappling coach. This is the jiu-jitsu coach. This is the
Striking
boxing
coach,
coach, striking
exactly.
coach, and everything else. Yeah, but boxing, everybody has egos. Even coaches, they have like their ego. Like, oh, why are you talking to my fighter for? If you go to some gyms right now, if you go to that gym right now and you start talking to a fighter, the coach will walk up to you like, yo, what are you telling? What are you talking to my fighter for?
I'm
That's the
not gonna
ego.
lie, but I'm not gonna lie to you though, Coach. I'm in the gym a lot. Like
Mm-hmm.
living in Vegas, I'm at Top Rank, every day for the most part. And I'm an observant individual, so I've seen it to where the coach will walk to the guy's coach. Hey, coach, I
Mm-hmm.
don't mean to,
Yeah. Yeah.
intro. Do you mind if I? And
Yeah.
I've never seen a coach say no, but
Yeah.
I do find it weird when it's like a coach and it's like they giving instruction to the guy who's sparring and you ain't part of the camp, the corner, nothing. And I'm just looking like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
to me that's confusing a fight, especially the young fighters.
I
Yeah.
mean, if
It's
somebody ain't giving them the proper direction, what could you do? It's hard to keep my mouth shut.
I
no,
mean,
like, yeah.
nah, nah, nah.
Go ahead.
No,
No, I was just gonna say, as hard as it may be, you need to learn to mind your business. Like at the end of
Yeah.
the day, mind to me, it's a mind the business that pays you. And if the fight, like, don't get me wrong, I never want to see a fighter hurt, but I think there's a way to go about it.
Yeah. I've been known to stop, like, jump in when I think is if the sparring sessions is going too far. Um, I've learned not to just even if I see a fighter doing something wrong, I just won't say anything to the fighter. I would go to the coach like, "Yo, should give it instruction to, like, what I think, my opinion, to the coach if it's warranted,
yeah.
if he's open to it, or she's open to it. I would give my advice toward in that way. But, like, it's kind of rude when a coach start screaming instructions to your fighter. Like, okay, it's like one of those situations where I don't know. Everybody's trying to show. Listen, I should be training that person.
Hmm.
Like, you understand what I mean? It's rude when you do it that way. So sometimes you just gotta be quiet and let the coach their fighter because they know their fighter. They understand what's happening. You never know what the coach is actually working on at that point in time with their fighter.
No,
You know, so
I think you hit it on the head as far as not knowing, because I've seen some sparring and it's like, man, this fighter gonna lose, and then they look phenomenal in the fight,
yeah,
and it's like,
yeah,
little do we know that, yo, maybe the trainer told him, yo, we only working on catching and shooting today, or we only working on doing this today, working off the
yeah.
jab, whatever it is. So
Handicapping. They handicap the fighters. So you
exactly.
never know. Like, a lot of time you will hear a promoter, or somebody that watched the sparring session, yo, um, Mike Tyson got chipped up in the gym today. Evander Holyfield, he got chipped up, right? But then when you there and you're watching it and you listen to the coach, I'm like, yo, Mike, don't go to the head at all. You got to work your way to the body. All you got to do is hit the body in this fight and work off the blocks. But it could be an instruction, or you know what? Today you're not using your right hand, you're just working off the jab. You
Mm.
never know what because sparring is practice,
No,
Yeah.
for
it's
sure.
rehearsal for the show. So there's a lot of times, like I handicapped Jalea, me personally as a coach, going into a sparring session. I was just strictly just handicapping, like, and nobody knows exactly what's going on but me and Jalea. And I'm not explaining to myself what's happening in the sparring sessions, and then when it comes down to those kind of things, Jalea is not Jalea, but, like, there's a lot of coaches that do that. So, like, that's why I don't take so much from sparring sessions unless you just say, okay, both guys go all out, do your thing. That's the other thing too. But
Last
you just
one,
never
coach.
know. Go ahead.
No, this is the last one. Just wanted to show you these pictures. Obviously, with the schedule and Usyk and Fury being busy, and mandatories, just trying to see which one of these guys on your side of the street with Frank Warren would you want the Big Bang to face if he can't get, the obvious names. This is Wardley, Fabio Wardley, and David Adelaide. They're on the
Hmm.
undercard of the Fury Ngannou. You got Joseph Parker, former world champion, taking on Simon Keane, also on the
Hmm.
undercard. Then you got Magdomov versus Samaki. Obviously, Magdomov is from Canada, big puncher, a lot of hype behind him. And the return
Hmm.
of Takum taking on Bacoli, who has the big win over Tony Yoka.
Both of them
And
do, right?
last but not least, Moses Atuma, who is just way too young for you guys.
Yeah. Um, I recognize a few names on there. And I'm just looking to see what's happening. We know who Parker is. We know who was that?
And
Takium and
Bacoli.
Okovili. I don't know the rest of the guys. I know the young kid. I see him around UK all the time. But it doesn't matter who. I'm being honest with you. As long as the money's right, but Jalay is number one. I want to stress that he is number one in the world. And we earned that spot. It wasn't like we was given, we was taking it. We had to take that spot and understand that spot. And when it comes down to the team, when it comes down to Jalay, Jalay would not turn down any fight at all. So but we want to make sure that when I say we, Tommy, Terry, Kurt, Scott, we got to make sure that the money is right and we're fighting the best option out there.
Is Chisora an option? After the win, he immediately came out and said he wants Zhang. No one's calling him out. Chisora is a pay-per-view fight in the
Yeah.
UK. He
Hmm.
does do a lot of business with the Saudis. Maybe he could get the
Yeah.
money for it.
Yeah. I guess yeah, that's an option. But Jalay's response was genuine. We was asking for this fight before. Like we asked for Dylan White, we asked for Chisora. We was like, no, we don't want to fight the Sergey Kuzmans. We don't want to fight the Rudenko. We want those guys. We've been asking, like Eddie, give us these guys. They didn't give it to us. So Jalay, I don't know how Jalay felt about that, but yeah, I don't see a problem with Chisora. He's trying to cash in, I think, right now, but we're not going to take him lightly if the fight is if that's another option. But yeah, why not? Like nobody's running from him. Jalay's not afraid of him. We understand who he is. We understand what type of style he comes with. We know that he's going to be there. So we see what happens.
All right, Coach, that is all our questions. We want to thank you, obviously, for coming
Definitely
on.
want to thank you for your
And
time.
once again, big congratulations on the win. You guys are getting everything you deserve, and we hope to see you guys back on television as soon as possible. If you want to give out your social media and Jalay's, please do
Yo,
so.
coach, and if the invite there, I'd love to make a trip to Jersey to come see you in the champ when he back.
Anytime you guys want. Anytime you want.
Appreciate
There.
it.
Follow me on Shaun George 101 on Instagram and Twitter. Or what's the X? Yeah, right now.
X now, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Shout out
X.
Elon.
Yeah. So yeah, Jalay, Big Bang, Zhang. Follow him on Instagram as well.
All right,
So
Coach. Thank you, man.
Thank you
thank you
so
guys.
much, coach.
All right. There you
Thanks
have
for
it,
having
ladies
me
and
on.
gentlemen.
Thank you for coming on.
Shaun George, trainer of Zhang, a.k.a. The Big Bang. What up, YouTube family? Don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Help us get to that 1 million subscribers. We're on the road to 1 million. And obviously, we have other great content on our Patreon channel. So since this video is over, head on over to our Patreon and check out all the exclusive content or right here on our YouTube members.